Well, hello, welcome back. I'm 𝘾𝙧𝙤𝙤. It's been a while since I posted some content. Been working on lots of things, but just haven't been sharing them on YouTube these days. But get right into what the video is about. Mainly two parts to this. Of course, it's a sawmill related video today. We're working with the Woodland HM122 sawmill. First off, we're going to jump into trying quarter sawing. I want to cut some fir flooring for a future cabin project. And I've never quarter sawed. Of all the years of owning sawmills, I've never quarter sawed, so we're going to jump into that and my experience with it. And I'm pretty happy the way the results came out. And then after that, we're going to jump into a custom clamp I built. This one right here is the custom clamp. It's telescopic. It's got nice Acme thread. If you have one of these mills, you might consider it's very cheap to build. And it adds more capacity, another 1.5 inches or so capacity to the log that you can actually fit on here. Because they claim it's a 22-inch sawmill for a log. You can't really clamp anything over 17 inches in here. So this adds another 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. It just has some better features than the stock clamp. And at the very end, we're gonna brush over a sawmill related tool that will save you a lot of money on blades. It's worth its own video in the near future. I'm working on one, but we're gonna talk about it briefly at the end of the video. So stay tuned and enjoy the video. So here we go. We're starting off with a fir cant for quarter sawing. This is a tree that we had cut for about 2 years and it's about time to mill it up. I don't think the stuff has to be aged for 2 years. It just is what we had and sitting around. Made our first cut right through the center of the cant. Now we're making our second pass. This is going to cut it into quarters. The reason we're doing this is we want to expose that vertical grain you can see right there because we want to make some flooring for a cabin. And it's my first experience with quarter sawing, but I think it turned out pretty good. We're quarter sawing these things to get this vertical grain. I haven't really ever bothered to do this much before, but we just split that thing in quarters and we're gonna mill it. Probably a few more passes, then we're gonna flip it and mill it a few more passes. The problem is your boards get smaller and smaller every time, but I'm gonna be using it for fir flooring and I can mix and match. So what we're just doing here is making a pass. We'll bring the mill back. We're going to make another pass after we rotate them a little bit to get the vertical grain. Like I said, your boards get a little bit skinnier every time, but I'm all right with having varying widths of flooring. As long as I got nice fir flooring in my cabin, I'm happy. Side note, I definitely need to mill up some heavy-duty beams for this thing as a little mill foundation. So this summer I'm going to cut down some kind of junkier trees that I don't really care for the lumber quantity out of it or quality, and mill it into some really heavy-duty beams for the base of this mill because it definitely floats around on these 2x4s I have it sitting on. So here's all that fir we quarter sawed. It's been stacked up and stickered and air drying up here for about 2 months now, and it seems pretty dry, so we're gonna pull some down and plane it and see what the final results are on this. Really looking forward to getting it installed in the cabin. So here's some of that fir flooring I cut. Not all premium. I mean, there's definitely some knots and stuff, but it's going to a little cabin project. But I think it's going to be good. I'm not going to tongue and groove it. I'm just going to run it through the joiner, probably on one edge, and then table saw it down just a tiny bit, make some consistent widths, and just face nail it. Pretty simple, nothing crazy. Just like I said, it's going to a little cabin. It's probably put a little bit of some type of floor sealer on it, but I don't think I'm going to bother with tongue and groove or anything like that. Just a simple little cabin floor. So now that we got that part about quarter sawing all wrapped up, we're going to jump over to log clamp. One thing I want to mention about the quarter sawing, I still have a little more prep work to do like I mentioned in the video, and later video this summer I'll show, once I get the flooring installed in the little cabin, I'll show some close-ups on the floor and my results with that. But so far, you know, I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out, and I think it's going to look great on a cabin floor. Let's jump over to the log clamp next. So here's a clamp I've just modified and built for my sawmill, and it's pretty simple to make. This is just some 3/4 inch tubing. I ground out the center seam. So here's some of the 3/4 inch pipe, real simple, just stuff you can get at any building supply store, and I cut a section of that off for the sliding part, and it fit on the original stock rod of the HM122 mill. All these other pipe clamps and everything, I'm actually been working on a bunch of brackets. I gotta pick this project back up. It's for cutting shingles. I want to be able to cut a bunch of shingles on my mill with a bunch of cants. Some companies sell these things, but they're a few $1,000s, and I think I could build one for a few $100. So once I get that jig figured out, I'll share what I built with you guys. Just like pipe, like you'd use for pipe clamps. This is 1¼ inch square tubing where I ground out the seam so it could be nestable. This is 1 inch square tubing. I think both these are 1/8 inch wall. And right up here is the top of a modified wood clamp. So here's a portion of another one of those clamps I use. This is one of those pipe clamps, 3/4 inch. There would have been some more stuff up here. This was broken off, modified a little bit. There's some stuff I cut off back here. So this isn't a fully modified, this isn't a fully stock 3/4 inch pipe clamp, but you get the idea. And the handle is cut and re-drilled. I put a little bearing down here. Cut almost all the stuff off and just retained this upper part where the 𝐴𝐾 thread is in the block, and got rid of the rest of it. I just cut everything off of it that I didn't need, refined the handle, shortened it up, put a little ball bearing at the end for a little handle to twist this thing in and out. I'll show you how it works. But what I like about this system is it's adjustable because it's nestable. This can slide in and out. And this is 𝐴𝐾 thread. It's built much more robust, and it doesn't take as many turns to travel this in and out. Granted, this is shorter because I didn't need to have as much throw as this, but I actually got about the same amount of threads here and here. And the beauty of this clamp is it buys me about 1¼ inch. You can see how much shorter this is. This is about 1 inch, and then from down here, from the handle, end of the handle to this, is about another 1/4 inch. 1¼ inch doesn't sound like that much, but when you're working on a log and you got a 17-inch capacity to clamp something, well, you got to 18¼ then. Another cool thing is that this is nestable, slides in and out, and I'll show you that in a moment. This is the same style of clamp I made for my homemade bandsaw mill, and I've been really happy about it. This thing, I kept spinning this and it kept hitting the log bunk, and yeah, I could shorten this down, but I just didn't like the slow threading of this. I also made this very blunt on the end because I did not like the point. Yeah, it grabbed wood really well, but it's so pointy that it'll just start burrowing into the wood and never really feels like you get it clamped down very well, just because it keeps kind of threading into the wood. This blunt should be all I need. Same as I have my other mill, and I've been using it for 8 years that way. So I'm gonna pull this rod and slide this old clamp off and put this new one on. So what I really like about this DIY clamp is not only the 𝐴𝐾 thread is nice because it only takes a little bit of a turn to lock it down, and short little handle is all I really need. It stays down out of the way. The other big thing is it's telescopic, so you can slide it way up, hook onto a large log. Again, we gain a 1¼ inch capacity on here, but it's telescopic, so if you're going to do the bottom board here, you can come down, clamp it on. And it's super low profile. This only sits up about 1/4 inch above the 𝐴𝐾 thread. This clamp is not telescopic, so sometimes when you'd be clamping the bottom board at this position, just didn't have good leverage. It felt like I'd have the bottom boards lift a little bit, do some weird stuff. So this one, you can lower it right down really low. Another thing I didn't care for about this clamp is the height difference. Even though this part of the tubing the thread go through is only 1/4 inch higher, you still had this nub that sat up even higher than that, and I was always kind of worried about smacking the blade on it. Plus this handle's long, and every time you turn it, you would hit the log bunk, and it was lower, and that just kind of The whole mill's been thought out really well. I just don't think the log clamp was thought out. I mean, it worked and it functioned, but the point on here too was a little bit too abrupt, and it would just bore into the wood. Or if you're trying to leave the wood with a good finish, then you would have to put a little piece of wood between that sharp point and that for it to bore into, so it didn't put a big hole in your wood. It's not a big thing, but this I'm going to be happy with. This has been the same style clamp I had on my mill I built 8 years ago, and it's been perfect. So kind of go back what I liked in that mill and redesigned into this one, but pretty good little system. I'm going to build another one of these because I have a bed extension with another clamp, but really simple to do with just an old broken pipe clamp I had kicking around and some little bit of tubing. So here's the new tool. I really wanted to cover it in a full-length video in the future, especially about safety aspects and things I like and dislike about it. But I think overall it's going to save me a lot of money in blades on the bandsaw, because this is all dirty, gnarly bark here, and it just removes it right off the log easily. So we're going to make a full-length video on that, cover things that I think could make the tool safe and proper ways I found to use it. So keep an eye out for that future video. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I got many more I've been working on, but I've kind of slowed the pace on YouTube. Just been hanging out with my family, my kids, working on projects. Some I want to share on YouTube, some I just want to get done and not try to go through the whole process documenting them. It takes a lot of work to make the videos, and just been trying to enjoy life a bit more and step away from social media a little bit. Not for good, just taking a little bit of a break. And I haven't felt super inspired coming out of winter to make videos, but doesn't mean I'm just completely done. I'm starting to feel like if you're not feeling inspired, the content's not going to come out how you want it, and you're just not going to have a good time making it. And making the video should just be about me enjoying what I've learned and sharing with everybody else and just having a good time with it. And I'm starting to feel like the break I took from social media and not making as many videos and the pressure of trying to keep up with any schedule has been, you know, kind of taxing over the last, I've been making videos for about 8 or 9 years. But it feels good to take a little bit of a break, and I'm kind of getting back into it. I got a video coming up pretty soon about my gray market excavator. I had it down for quite a while looking for some parts and pieces, and I will be posting that video in the next few weeks about the good and bad about owning maybe a gray market machine. All right, until next time, thanks for checking out the videos, guys. Take care. Bye.